This is the Your Career Story podcast, and you're listening to episode 56, How to Prepare When Everything is Unpredictable. Welcome to Your Career Story podcast, a show that's designed for rockstar professionals looking for that extra booster shot of confidence in their careers. Whether you're trying to get clarity on a job transition, want some work-life balance inspiration, or need a strategy to snag that promotion or raise, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Jenna Viviano, ex-Wall Streeter turned startup junkie who now coaches hundreds of clients, empowering them to take back control of the job search and land their dream job. So sit back, grab a glass of wine, and prepare yourself for your weekly boost of career confidence. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode. I am so excited to have you here and be in your earbuds today. Thank you for having me be a part of your routine. Hopefully, the past couple of days have been really helpful in terms of reframing your mindset around the coronavirus and just all the things that we have going on in the world right now, and how are we going to react to it? And so one of the big questions that I keep getting on LinkedIn and on Instagram, and if we're not connected there, I'd love to connect with you, is how do I actually prepare when I don't know what's going to happen next? And so I want to talk a little bit about that concept around unpredictability and then preparation as well. I'm going to give you some tactical things to think about, but then I'm also going to give you some mindset shifts that you need to be making and thinking about as we're entering into this new season of life. So to kind of kick us off a little bit, I'm a word nerd. And so I actually looked up the definition of prepare and unpredictable. And prepare, the phrasing is make someone ready or able to do or deal with something. So make someone ready or able to do or deal with something. So preparation is getting ready to do something or deal with a problem, which I feel like a lot of us are like, yes, I have many problems right now, and this is one of them. And now the definition of unpredictable is unforeseeable. That's kind of, I synthesized it down and just kept on giving me basically a bunch of definitions that included the word predictable in it. I didn't think that was helpful. So the synonym that I found was unforeseeable. And I thought that was a really interesting word and an interesting phrase to think about, because the reality is we are always in a season of unpredictability. We have, because none of us are psychics, true psychics, right? We really don't truly know what's going to happen next. And so in this season of unpredictability, we really don't have control right now, but we have to realize we never really had control in the first place. And I think a lot of us are really having to wrestle with this idea of control. So many of us have been operating, myself included, where we actually had felt like we were feeling pretty good about where life was going and what was happening. And we felt like it was under our control. Like we could maneuver and strategize and make things look a certain way. But if you would have told me 2 months ago, a month ago, that this is where we would be at, I would have said you were crazy. And I'm sure you can relate to that as well. So it really had me think, like, are we ever in control of anything? And the reality is we're not. We are truly not in control. And so we're actually always in this state of unpredictability. We just feel better about it previously than we do now. And so that is not to make light of the fact that obviously this is a very serious public health issue, that I have friends that are immunocompromised. I have grandparents. I really care about those people. Please keep social distancing no matter what the politicians are saying. Please do that for all of us. But I really want to help us reframe how we're thinking about unpredictability. Because when we normalize it and we realize we're never in control, we can actually start to adapt and to maneuver ourselves into this quote unquote new season and realize it's just how it's always been. It just looks a little bit different and we feel different about it. And the reality is too, is like there are things that seem like they're sure things that become not sure things. One perfect example is the Titanic. It was supposed to be the safest ship, and it sunk on its maiden voyage, right? Like it was supposed to be the best thing that came out in that time period, and it sank. That was a sure thing. It wasn't actually. The other thing that I was thinking about recently was WeWork. So WeWork was, the darling of Wall Street. It was like, had this big IPO valuation and everyone was so excited about it until finally we realized that actually everything underneath it was not super as we thought it was. We realized there were a lot of issues internally at the organization, specifically with top leadership. So what seemed like a sure thing for people that were shepherding this company through to the IPO process actually wasn't. So there's things like this that happen all the time where you think that it's going to look one way, but actually it looks a different way. We are used to this. This is not new. It just looks and it is a different package. So And you guys that are in 9-to-5 jobs, you know that there's always fires. You can project manage the crap out of a project and realize there's still going to be things that don't go as planned. I am planning a wedding right now. I can guarantee 15,000 things that are not going to go as I have planning them to go. It's just the reality that we're living in. What I think this does is it helps us normalize what's going on right now to the degree that it's appropriate. Because the only thing that is constant in life is change, and we can expect unpredictability. So how do we now react to it? I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to evaluate where we're putting our trust, or what we're putting our trust in, and how we're putting our trust in something. I know for me, I've really used this as a reflection time that I have relied on myself a lot, some self-sufficiency and some pride, and I'm just realizing I'm not in as control as I thought that I was. It's made me question and ask, am I putting too much worth in my work? Am I, especially for a lot of you right now who are worried about maybe layoffs or just worried about job stability, even if you're not worried about a layoff or you haven't been laid off before, maybe you're worried about your bank account. Maybe you are realizing that you put a lot of worth and a lot of credibility into what number is in that bank account, and you might not be liking what you see right now. And here's where I think my dad's quote that he gave me, if you've listened to my podcast for a long time, you've heard me say this before, but I think it is ever so true right now. I saw this recently with a past client who I was working with, been at the company for a really long period of time, and in a matter of a week, closed the doors, fired everybody. So I don't say that to make you scared, but I think this quote is so true. A company will only be as loyal to you as what makes financial sense to them. So are you putting your trust in an employer that really only has so much flexibility and room to help when times are like this, right? You need to look at this time as your opportunity to be your own career hero again and stop waiting for other people to give you opportunities. It is your time right now to be proactive in your career, for you to really reflect and be honest with yourself about where your control issues are, where you're putting your worth in. Is it the bank account? Is it the work? Is it your manager praising you? What is it? What are the things that you're putting your trust in, and how is that working for you right now? Be honest with yourself. And once you realize that we're seeing this across the board, that a company will only be as loyal to you as what makes financial sense for them, or what's financially possible for them. We're going to use that phrasing for this time period, because I think a lot of companies do not want to lay off people. They just don't want to do it. Financially, they have to. So how do you now be your own career hero and take back control of the process and quit waiting for other people to tell you when your opportunities are? I've been talking about this phrasing for a long time. It is extra true right now. Hey guys, I know things feel really crazy right now with COVID-19. So I wanted to do my part and help small businesses through this podcast. No strings attached, no kickbacks, just raising awareness on how to support local businesses in the community. So one of my colleagues from the Muse founded this amazing brand called Inglenook Marketplace. It gives me all the cozy vibes. Inglenook Marketplace is your go-to home decor, gifts, and accessories brand. They specialize in phthalate and paraben-free home fragrances, which includes their hilarious line of snarky coconut wax candles and essential oil room sprays. Can you say cozy? If you're looking for self-care essentials, unique home decor, or the perfect gift to send to your friend from afar, visit inglenookmarketplace.com to receive 20% off your first purchase with coupon code YourCareerStory. That's all one word. Shop now to receive 20% off your first purchase at www.inglenookmarketplace.com. That's INGLE nookmarketplace.com to snag those perfect home essentials. Inglenook Marketplace, from our nook to yours. The second thing that I want you to think about when preparing for a time when everything feels unpredictable, right? We're going to say that unpredictability is a feeling. It's not just a state of affairs. It is a feeling. So my recommendation actually, and I was reminded of this morning when I was listening to some sermons, and just a phrase that I have always used, but I've forgotten over the past couple of months, honestly, probably the past 6 months or so, is my decision-making framework is really, really great when I go where the peace is. So I've told this story before, but I was leaving Wall Street and decided I wanted to make a transition into sales. And I had an opportunity at one company that was a bigger organization that would get me out of New York City. They were going to pay me well. I wasn't going to do exactly what I wanted to do, but it was secure. It was safe. And then I had over here this really small startup where I would be the 11th salesperson doing a totally new type of work. I was slashed my salary, had opportunity for commission, but really didn't know how that was going to play out. Really insecure, unsafe, didn't have funding at the time when I signed on. I ended up taking that small company, and that was the Muse, which led me to starting my side hustle, which led me to me talking to you on this podcast today. I had a massive amount of peace, even though I was scared with this decision over here with applying to the Muse. I did not have peace where the safe, quote unquote, safe option was. Think about where in your life right now you are living in frantic and where you are sensing some sort of peace. You have to be still to be able to hear that, for the record. Some stillness helps with that. But I'm realizing that when I'm frantic, that's equaling fear. And when I'm fearful, we know that that equals bad decision making. It equals something that's not aligned. Use a 24-hour rule. I do this with purchases. Any big purchase that I have, if I see a really cute jumper down the street, I'll give myself 24 hours to really decide, do I really want that item? I think for you, for decision making, it can be really easy to make a snap judgment and make a decision and kind of move on from it when we're feeling frantic and fearful, but that's not really probably the right decision. The right decision is where we understand where the peace is and go where that is. It's a great decision-making tool, but you have to be tuned in. You have to be listening. And I get a lot of people ask me, like, what does that feel like? For me personally, it feels like I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm confident. I have no idea what the outcome is going to look like, but I'm confident something good's going to come from it. I have peace around it. I have a settling. I have a calmness about me. When I feel like I'm frantic, it means that I'm trying to like strive and strain, and I can feel myself trying to fix a problem versus just being at peace with what the decision is. You ever feel that way? So my second suggestion when preparing for an everything is unpredictable is first evaluate what you're putting your trust in. Be really honest with yourself. Second, make decisions based off of peace. So go where the peace is. And then the third thing that I would recommend, the one thing that is predictable is there will be an after all of this, after coronavirus, after we get out of quarantine, after we are back into our workplaces. We're not going to be work from home forever. We know that should be true, right? How do we actually prepare for that moment? Once we've done the heart work and we understand our why behind we're acting a certain way, our belief structure, how do we actually then, too many of you want to go straight to this point. I need you to do the heart work first, understanding where the piece is, understanding your true motivations, understanding your belief structure, and then get to the more practical side. Because you know that there will be an after to this whole situation, what do you prepare and how do you prepare? Couple of tactical, really tangible tips to give you. First thing I want you to do is I want you to use this time that you're away from your coworkers, away from your workspace, the environment that you're in, to really reflect and decide, do I like what I'm doing? I think you're going to find a lot of people right now are evaluating and reevaluating, even if their job isn't under jeopardy or they're not fearing that. They're really going to be evaluating, I don't know if I want to go back to what I was doing before. Maybe that's you if you're listening right now. Maybe you're thinking, I really don't want to do what I've been doing all this time. So my next question to you is you need to start thinking about, what do I actually want? Am I climbing the right ladder? Ask yourself that question. Am I climbing the right ladder? Or am I climbing somebody else's ladder? I think I get a lot of women. Most of my women are, again, 100K plus earners, mostly 200K plus and beyond. And those women are they really is one day like, is this what I'm working so hard for? I know that I'm capable of so much more. I know that I want to be climbing a different ladder than the one that I'm on. How do I get myself there? Right? So you really the first stage though is realizing like, I need to be on a different ladder. I need some help. I need to get out of what I'm currently doing. And I need to figure out, what do I actually want in my career? Because it's a huge part of your life. It matters. It really does matter. It shouldn't be an idol, but it does matter. And then once you decide, okay, what do I want to do? Now that I've reflected and probably thought, maybe I don't want to be here. Or you've thought, maybe I do want to be here, but I want to rise up through the ranks. Or maybe I want to do things differently or better. Maybe I want to love my coworkers better. Whatever that looks for you. If you've decided that you want to make a move, here are some of the things that you need to be thinking about. Have you talked a little bit about your personal brand yet? Have you thought about that at all? Okay, this is where it matters more than ever. Personal branding matters more than ever in this season, because what you're going to find, and this is again, not to scare you, it's just the reality, is because people are getting laid off, you're going to see a lot of career pivots. And that's going to be tomorrow's episode, how to make a career pivot in this environment. But you're going to see a lot of people make pivots within industries, into different industries. And so there's going to be more competition. So the number one thing that you need to make sure that you're doing, understanding your worth, understanding your personal brand, and making sure your materials reflect it. So I'm talking about not just your resume and your LinkedIn. I'm talking about your elevator pitch. I'm talking about your mindset, the biggest part of it. I would say that my recruit the employer women, when they come out of the program, they would tell you that the mindset shifts that they get have helped them even probably more so than the strategies. Okay. So you need to have your resume and your LinkedIn and your elevator pitch and your networking tools in place. You have to have a cover letter that's actually going to express who you are. Are you producing content? Are you a senior leader who is at a place in your career where you should really be seen as a subject matter expert? You need to be producing content on LinkedIn. Are you thinking about interview prep? You probably haven't prepped in a long time. Do you know how to go back into an interview and actually sell yourself and answer the question, tell me about yourself, or why should we hire you? Have you thought about negotiating? Are you actually getting paid what you're worth? So many of you are in jobs. Some of my ladies have never negotiated, or if you've negotiated, you've done it from a meager perspective. I want you to be, again, the hero of your career. And I want you to really take this opportunity to reflect, refine, and clarify what you want to do next, where you want to go, and get the help where you need it. So again, you got to figure out what is in your tool belt right now and what do you need to enhance or to bring out. My dad is a contractor. He was in construction. And when we were kids, he had like little mini tool belts for us to work around the house. We never did any projects. God bless him, because my sister might have. I definitely did not help my dad with very many projects. But he had these cute little tool belts for us. And, when I'm thinking about this analogy, you can't use a hammer and not have a nail. You can't have a nail but not have a hammer. It's kind of useless. And so I think a lot of folks will think about their job search tools as just being a resume and maybe their LinkedIn profile, they've thought about it. But the reality is you need to make sure all of that stuff is working together. Similar to how an organization has a full-on marketing message that is built out, you need to have that too. And this is the perfect time for you to take the step back and start evaluating what that is. So how to prepare when you're feeling like everything's unpredictable? Get ready for the unpredictable. So the worst case scenario is if you get laid off, you already have this material in hand. Best case scenario is if you are in a job and you're like, this is not what I want to be doing. Awesome. Use this time to pivot, to flex, to move somewhere different, but make sure that all of your materials are working together. All right, guys, I hope that this was helpful. I'm excited to see you tomorrow. We're going to be talking all about how to actually make a career pivot. So as always, reach out to me on LinkedIn, connect with me there. Tell me what your biggest takeaway was from this episode today. I hope it was really helpful. I hope you felt inspired, encouraged, hopeful again, and excited about the opportunities that are ahead, because they are ahead for you. I am believing it. Awesome. I will see you then. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for listening to Your Career Story podcast. I would love to get to meet you. And there are a couple of ways that we can connect in between episodes. First and foremost, I love my LinkedIn. Second is via Instagram. And third is over on my website. I actually have a special spot just for you full of fun, free resources. So all you have to do is go to www.jennaviviano.com/resources. Super simple, for a bunch of freebies that will help you boost your career. Hope to see you next week.